Yeah, Rustam, this afternoon we have enticed our participants and the viewers of this webinar here and live on Facebook also about the discussion that we are about to have. And it is about the article that you've written in the issue 4 of Rolling Inspiration with regards to learnerships. And we always appreciate and enjoy your insight and also the information that you give with regarding to employment and learnerships and to this. So allow us just to unpack a little bit more about what we have here, and then also we will allow for some questions if there is any from the participants of the webinar. But let me ask you a question, the first question, and I enjoyed, as I said, I enjoyed the article. I read it quite a couple of times because it gives me insight and understanding of the whole concept of learnerships. But can you tell us why are learnerships so appealing to businesses?
So there are various reasons why learnerships are appealing. The one is that from a skills development perspective, they're able to get tax benefits. And then it's also in terms of the BBBEE, there are benefits there. And then also in terms of employment equity compliance, there are benefits there. So let me just give you a little bit of extra information around all of those. So when it comes to skills development, you have the employee tax incentive. That's 12,000 Rand benefit to a company. That is irrespective of whether the person is disabled or not. Then they've got a 120,000 12H tax allowance. And as you can, that's a very, very substantial allowance. So those are the two skills development benefits in terms of the learnerships. Then when you look at BBBEE, because you're engaging persons with disabilities, there are 4 points under the skills development element. And if you're a generic enterprise, you will get another 2 points under Black disability employment equity. So there are 6 direct points that you have in the scorecard, but there are inferred points as well, extra points that you can earn as well. And depending on how creative you are, you can earn just short of 50 points out of 100 for engaging persons with disabilities. And then the third area is in terms of employment equity. You know, you have to achieve 7.5% employment within your company, and learnerships is a very good tool to help your company achieve your disability employment equity.
Also, it's very, very lucrative, to put it as that way,
yeah,
for companies to have people with disabilities on board and involved in the companies. And would you just maybe explain as to, with all these benefits to companies, we still struggle to get to the quota or to the number of persons that they should could employ. Is there a reason for that, why we're still struggling to get more people with disabilities into the workplace, even though we have these tools and mechanisms available?
In my opinion, it is understanding. Companies don't necessarily know the benefits, broadly speaking, that government offers. So if you look at the more established companies, they got dedicated staff that that focuses on certain areas. Let me give you an example. If you're a company that's 50 million Rand turnover and above, in all probability, you've got an HR department that is overseeing your processes. And therefore, you're aware of the legislation and the benefits that it is to you. But if you're a one-man show, it's very difficult to keep up with the information that is sometimes required. So I think it's a lack of information and a lack of interpretation and understanding. For example, people don't even understand the benefits of a tax allowance. I mean, a tax allowance, 100,000 Rand tax allowance means you're reducing your tax burden by 28,000 Rand. 28,000 Rand going into your back pocket. You know, but people, businesses don't really understand this. So it's very important for the intermediaries, people like the disability consultants, organizations like QASA, and other disability organizations to have this understanding, because it is a tremendous selling point for the disabled, for selling disability into the workplace.
Yeah. I really like the way that you are putting it there, for selling disability into the workplace, because it's not a commodity we see, but there's companies that rely on that, and the ones who understand it is using it to their advantage, and the ones who's not understanding it is actually losing out on the opportunity of employing and the benefits, or what benefits can this arrangement offer the people who are in the learnerships, who most of them are people with disabilities?
Firstly, it's an opportunity to gain a qualification, right? And you are gaining that qualification in terms of the learning that you're going through. You're actually studying, there's course material, training material, and you're getting a qualification, a recognized qualification at the end of it. I think that's a passport to prosperity and wealth. The second thing is you are able to earn an income through the stipend. So that's a second benefit. The third benefit is that you are exposed to the world of work. We very seldom take going to work, we take it for granted. But I think what COVID has taught us last year, that we appreciate going to work. I mean, when we were locked down, the hard lockdown, we actually missed work. You know,
Yes.
so it's very healthy to be able to be in a working environment. So a learnership provides a person with a disability with that type of stability by way of a qualification, by way of a stipend, by way of work experience.
I hear you, and that is actually, not actually, but most of the occasions, and that is the element that is missing, because companies would want to have that experience. And I see here that through learnership, you can have that experience at a benefit there, in there. Yeah. And but some of us, we believe that there is a risk to the businesses that will only offer learnerships and never full-time positions, because we have a work readiness program. We have not so much out and out engaged in learnerships. We have experience, if I say we, QuadPara Association, in the work readiness program, and then we have the internship program, but very seldom have we engaged in learnerships. We have one candidate that has actually opted to enter into a learnership and resign from our skills program, and we are asking the questions now. But do you agree that there are some risk that the businesses will only offer learnerships and never the full-time positions?
I think that you got to look at what are the requirements of the job. Now, companies that have a high turnover of staff, the challenge that they are going to have is that you're going to have somebody coming through your door, you're going to train them, you pay them a kind of entry-level wages, you're going to have a high churn. So you're going to have a lot of staff that leave because they're not really being paid accordingly. Now, if you have that, especially in industries like retail and call centers, the churn in staff is very high. So if you place learners with disabilities into those type of environments, you're going to find the churn with the disabled also very high. However, companies that spend a lot of effort and time and the recruitment process are very thorough, you will notice that employee retention is very important. And companies that focus on that see the learnership as a tool to identify employees with disabilities and nurture them, and also give them a qualification, which is of course a benefit to the company. Unfortunately, you don't find a lot of companies that focus like that. But there are industries, for example, the insurance industry. There are lots of learners with disabilities that go into insurance that actually do get employed, because it doesn't make sense for that insurance company to put all this value into the development of the person and they just up and leave. Okay, so it's got to do with employee retention. However, my point of view is also, if an organization only wants to put you on a learnership and they're not interested in employing you afterwards, that's not necessarily a bad thing. The reason why I say that is because if you continue from one learning experience to another learning experience, you're just improving your experience, you're improving your qualifications. Because I know that jumping from one learnership to another learnership is regarded by some people as being a no-no.
Yes, yes, it is. It is. It's frowned upon also. However, I know personally of many of members and people with disabilities that have survived until now because it's not a big uptake from the after the post learnership that they do, as you say, jump from learnership to learnership, and it actually keeps families going. It puts something on the table, and also allow that person to either to save or to actually not upskill himself, but to better the financial situation for that household.
But you mentioned something interesting there. You said upskill themselves. That is true. They are upskilling themselves because every single year that they may be doing business administration in 1 year, they may be doing call center on another year, they may be doing management in a 3rd year. Now, a business, when they start looking at that wealth of experience that the person accumulates, it's a good value proposition. Now what they do is they put them on another learnership. It's silly for them not to recognize that person's skills. Doesn't make sense. And therefore, I think that the learnership is a good uptake. Now, I know that the disability employment equity numbers are not really changing. But the one thing we must notice about disability employment equity, it remains stagnant in an economy that's depressed. So we've had huge job losses over the last 5 years, but the disability employment number has remained stable. So that's actually a good thing. And people don't really, we very seldom as persons with disabilities pat ourselves enough on the back because we do achieve things. That is an achievement to have maintained our employment numbers. And it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. Okay, the disability employment equity numbers is bad. But what I'm saying is that whereas the rest of the economy is depressed, we've been able to keep that number. In fact, the last report was at 1.1% of the working population of persons with disabilities. It went up a little bit. It was previously at 1.0%.
Oh, wow, that is good news, Rustim, that you touch on there. And we, once again, if I say we, it's QuadPara Association, that we put that out when we engage with employers, and then we will put to say what is the benefits of employing a person with a disability, and we know about it. We know about the being loyal and being on time and being actually more productive than some of the peers or the colleagues that they engage with in the workplace. And so we know that there's benefit to the employers. We also have touched on some of the benefits to the person who finds him or herself in the cycle of learnerships and increasing their skills, as you said now. So where to from there? What can the people with disabilities do when they find themselves in that cycle?
Okay, I think that the disability organizations play a big role. So I'm kind of putting responsibility on an organization like QASA, right? That very often people don't know they need your guidance, okay, as an organization to be able to help them and for opportunities, additional opportunities if they need it. Just help me prepare my CV, just help me interpret this job situation. How can I best prepare myself for my own reasonable accommodation? What is going to make life easier for me in the job environment? What can you help the company that's recruiting me to reasonably accommodate me? Like, for example, with access, universal design, sensitization, all of that type of thing. So I think it's very important for the individual to lean on their disability organization. And I want to go broader than just QuadPara. There's the deaf, there's the blind, These are disability organizations that understand those type of disabilities. And invariably, disability organizations are involved with the disabled. The other things, and so that is something that I think needs to be prepared. And the interaction with the learner, as well as the interaction with the potential client. If we have greater communication, understanding, and support from those two separate environments, then you're going to find that the uptake or the conversion from the learnership to employment will be stronger. And there's strong motivation in the BBBEE Scorecard, for example, that talks about absorption, the concept of absorption. You can, for example, earn bonus points on your BBBEE Scorecard if you retain persons with disabilities in employment.
Oh, well, Rustim, you've touched on something there, and that is the responsibility of the disability persons organizations, and also that yes, to follow up and have that constant communication, even after the learnership or the program has come to an end. There should be that follow up there, and then also collaboration with other organizations, like-minded organizations. And I just want to mention that we receive information and communication about an organization such as the South African Disability Development Trust that supports employed persons or persons with disabilities that are employed, and also they have the opportunity to apply through that fund for assistance that they might need, as you mentioned, with reasonable accommodation and other matters that might be a barrier between permanent employment and either remaining in a learnership, or to help with that transition from learnership into permanent employment. And I agree that communication is very, very important and vital in there. So thank you very much for touching on those important points. And I just want to there's one comment that I have here before I open up and remind everyone that we are opening the floor for comments and questions, either to myself or to Rustim. And the first one here we have here, and it's where can we learn about learnership opportunities?
People with disabilities are sought after when it comes to learnerships. You can just have a look at your social media feeds. There's a lot of opportunities that come through that. The disability organizations themselves are normally informed of the various seaters that are looking, that have got programs out. And some of the bigger employers also are very active in terms of their recruitment. So I think social media and the disability organizations are the way, where you as a person with disability, if you're looking for an opportunity, check there. But let me also put the other side of the coin to it. It's very important that the disability organizations, especially if they've got an economic empowerment focus, that they stay abreast of what the CETAs are offering, which I think is very important.
Sorry, you were breaking up a little bit. You did say it's important what the CETAs are offering.
Yes. So what I'm suggesting is that it's important for the disability organizations to remain abreast of what the CETAs are offering, so that when you have your members needing information, they can touch base with you.
I see. Yeah, perfect. I agree. Yes. Allow me just to read the follow-up a question. And then how can a learner enhance their learnership opportunity? For example, engaging with mentors.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think candidates, whether you're a candidate to a learnership or you're a candidate to a job, people don't do very well, is that they don't present themselves very well. And the best way to present yourself is to have a good CV. So I think that's one thing that a program to, and I'm sure your work readiness program covers this very well, is the development of your CV, is your passport. It shows people what it is that you got to offer in terms of any opportunity. But I also think that where the disability organizations, and let's be specific in the disability organization, your job placement officers, your social workers, all those type of professional staff, they need to be well afraid with what learnerships are about, so that when a candidate or a person with disability wants to be a candidate for a learnership or employment, that there are these specialist people that they can call on and can give them the necessary assistance in order to best prepare them and equip them for the job opportunity or learnership opportunity.
Oh, wow. Rustim, you've given us very, very valid and valuable information, yes, especially at this time of the year that we're in, and also this time of where we're going through the pandemic still. We know how to enhance our chances of employment, and we know that there are benefits for both our candidates and for the employers out there, potential employers even, for the uptake of persons with disabilities into the workplace, be it through permanent employment or through learnerships and internships. We're very happy for that. And the one piece of information is that a little bit of information that the number of people with disabilities employed has remained constant while the rest of the economy is depressed. That actually gives us an indication that that we are doing something right. Thank you very much for your time.